told you to get rivers in trouble. Rivers will deal with us very soon. Anybody who laments on our urban centers being inundated by floods, unlike Allah, because we are responsible. But wrong Allah, God has nothing to do with that. That is assessment number one, vulnerability. We belong to number one. If you are looking for a threshold of vulnerability of climate crisis or urban crisis, go to the Western world and see what's going on. Then we have the issue of networking. Are we really networking? Database, what data do we have on crisis? If I ask you, what crisis? Some of you will just say climate change. Kawai shikena, flooding shikena. You say urban warming, what about the urban cooling? What about the El Nino effect and so on? Then the applicability, how do we apply it? It's all boils to you and I. But in the long run, Vice Chancellor, I want to inform you, I want to give you a very nice story. And this is a story not by fiction, but by practicality and honesty. Ahmadu Bello University is the best environmentally sustained institution in Nigeria. I'm not mincing word because I have the environmental indices. That's why I'm making ABU the first. The former Vice Chancellor, myself, we drew up the environmental structures of Vision 2020 for Nigeria, and I know what I'm saying. In the final analysis, number one, ABU is identifying all those crises. ABU is scanning the crisis. ABU is analyzing the results of the urban crisis, and ABU is remediating it through committees of deans, through committees of the Vice Chancellor. We have the tree planting committee. The tree planting committee has built or has evolved 30 parks for ABU. And another big one, Mahadi Forests. My challenge, HOD, Dean, please get students to go in for research and look at the number of species we have, or let them do VI vegetation index so that we will know our carbon sink. The last thing I want to also say, at the moment, the Committee on Environment is coming up with 3 proposals. One for a resort for the university, the second one, parks, and the third one, a garden, which we will equate to Stanley Garden and Van Dusen Garden in Canada. The last one, I have made some alliances with Nigerian aviation. I said, please, look, whenever you are flying over Zaria, take some inventory, capture some pictures, do it seasonally, and let's compare. If what I'm saying is wrong, then we will prove it by going up. This morning, my son called to tell me, Mr. Vice Chancellor, it's a good news. He said he was flying over Alpha A. Alpha A means this part of Zaria. He said, all other areas look brown, jaggy, dirty, nasty, except ABU. Congratulations, sir. So he is bringing some pictures for you, for us to see. I'm not daydreaming. I'm not talking out of the blues. I'm talking out of practicality. You may have heard that I'm from the gender coordinator of SMP. Yes, I am, because male and female ought to survive in an environment. I'm a geographer by training. At the course of our discussion, since I'm the chair, and I'm very time conscious, I will there will be no carrot here. Sticks may come, because we don't respect time.
Secondary school, someone. Let me now quickly and most respectively for his address, the Vice Chancellor, Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, Professor Ahmadu, FNIT. RT.
Thank you very much. The President, Nigerian Institute of Quantity Surveyors, the President, Nigerian Institution of Surveying, represented by the Vice President, the Dean of the Faculty, the Chairperson of the occasion, our very distinguished senior colleagues that are here. I can see Madam Yahaya, representing Proman. You're welcome. The deans of other faculties and heads of departments. Our very beautiful young children that are here. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It is my singular honor and privilege to be here this morning. But I need to also apologize to our very special guest for keeping it impromptu. So I'd like to welcome every one of you and to thank the Faculty of Environment for sustaining this very novel idea that started only 3 years ago. I must commend the resilience of the Dean and other heads of departments for finding it worthy to continue with this program. I think today, like the UN had said, it's a very special day. It keeps reminding to the environment. And the fact that how we handle the environment determines our future. The urban population continues to increase. The chairperson has spoken about the rural versus urban. But the most disturbing issue is the fact that the rate at which people keep moving to urban areas over the last 100 years is so phenomenal. At the beginning of the century, there were only 10% of the global population living in cities. Today, we are heading towards 65%, and it keeps counting. So often, if we sit back and reflect, we get tempted to ask the question, at what point will this stop? And at the pace at which we are going, will there be a day where everyone will be living in cities of 20,000 and over? That's a danger that speaks to us. And we know the implication of the things that can happen if every one of us lives in cities. And that takes us to the theme for this year, which is responding to urban crisis. She has spoken a bit about some of those crises, but it's important to remind every one of us that at the pace that we are going, this crisis will continue to increase. It will not only be about violence that results from income inequalities, but the struggle to have houses, the struggle to surveying, the fine arts, industrial design. We are the first. Industrial design, we are the first to mount these programs. So we must lead with responsibility. Only 2 days ago, ABU marked 63 years of independence. And that comes with a lot of message that the mandate that the founder gave to us is still unfinished. I did speak in my address to the press on Saturday that ABU had delivered on the first mandate of the Sardauna, which was to train the manpower for the North, and by extension, the whole country. The second mandate he gave is to address, and he said that this will be what we will focus our attention on in the next 20, 30 years. how do we address problems? And so, to the Faculty of Environmental Design, this comes to you as a challenge, that we come up with pragmatic solutions and advocacy that can help us remind the world, remind the North about the dangers of climate change, of desertification, of poverty. What solutions do we have on the table? This is a challenge that we must take up. And not only should we also be bothered about the environment defined purely in terms of the human beings and also the vegetation. Let us remember that the biosphere, the ecosystem, involves also animals. Often we ignore them, but God has a reason why they are also created with us. And He would ask us about what we have done to maintain that balance in the ecosystem. Last month, when we had the first inaugural lunch with the students, there was this young chap who raised hand and asked question. And he says, he remembers that there was one Polish old man who passed on last year. He was so fond of cats around the university. And he goes around feeding them. That since his death, those cats have no food anymore. And he asked the vice chancellor what the university will do about that. And I think those are reminders to us that even the young can think and have the potential to get us back on track. So that's a message that we should take. As we try to build all over, and we're concerned about the trees, the vegetation, and where human beings will live, let us understand that there's a reason, ecological balance that God has created. And so, something we should take home. To the young chaps that come, I appreciate the faculty for always inviting them from across the city of Zaria. And we hope this will continue so that we can create the next generation of leaders that have responsibility for. Finally, it is to thank you, the faculty, for sustaining this laudable program. And I hope that.
I think we should make it clear that it's now free. So let me now invite the first keynote presenter, who is the President, Nigeria Institute of Quantity Surveyors, Quantity Surveyor Nzekwe Kene Christopher. We are going to take the two presentations, then the discussion will emerge also. Let the student be at the forefront, please. Just move to the front, move to the center. Then you may just. Thank you very much. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let me also welcome the State Chairman of Nigeria Institute of Surveyors, Kaduna Chapter, Quantity Surveyors. Yeah, as I was saying, let me recognize the presence of the State Chairman of Nigeria Institute of Surveyors, Kaduna Chapter, that is Surveyor Maikano Samson and his ESCO members. So also the Kaduna Chapter of the Nigeria Institute of Quantity Surveyors this time around, QS Dr. Bukola Alupo Opono. So I'll now hand down the mic to the first keynote presenter, like I've introduced earlier, but to permit me to state clearly, the first keynote presenter is the President, Nigeria Institute of Quantity Surveyors, QS Nzekwe Kene Christopher.
The MC of the program, I will forgive him. Because it appears that he's trying to mutilate my name. But I've forgiven him. The Vice Chancellor, Ahmadu Bello University, Professor Adamu Ahmed, who is also one of us. The chairperson of today's occasion, Professor Binta Abdulkarim. She is the coordinator, Gender SMP. You know, when she came up here, she alluded that Ahmadu Bello University has the most friendly environment when you compare to other tertiary institutions in Nigeria. I was immediately inclined to disagree with her. But because I also have a certificate from Ahmadu Bello University, I decided to keep quiet. You know, there is a university in southwest Nigeria called Obafemi Awolowo University. If you get to the environment, I'm not sure if ABU is anywhere near the environment of Obafemi Awolowo University. But because I also have a certificate here, I agree with you. The VC and some of you who are here can easily sit and say, we are taking away his certificate. And I worked very hard for that certificate. The Dean of the Faculty of Environmental Design, Professor Abdullahi Abubakar, my HOD, hardworking HOD, very hardworking. 3 months ago, he called me, over 3 months ago, and informed me of this program. And said, please, I gave you a long notice so that you will plan your program to fit into this. I said, okay. I said, if everybody is like you, then there won't be problem. I want to thank Professor Peter Chindo Gangas. And also all the president, Nigerian Institution of Surveyors, ably represented by Surveyor Bashir Muhammad. Distinguished members of the high table, members of the NEC of the Nigerian Institute of Quantity Surveyors, the Secretary Professional Development is here, the Secretary Marketing and Corporate Affairs is here, and indeed we have in our midst a very distinguished quantity surveyor who is also a member of the incorporated trustee board of the Nigerian Institute of Quantity Surveyors, in the person of QS Yahaya Abubakar, FNIQ. My host chairperson, or my host chairman, I call her double-edged chairman because she's the chairman, Women Association of Quantity Surveyors in Nigeria, and the chairman, Kaduna chapter of the Nigerian Institute of Quantity Surveyors, in the person of QS Dr. Barrister Bukola Aluko Oluku. And all the distinguished quantity surveyor professors and doctors in the house, distinguished academians, students, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen. You know, it's usually not a thing of fun to come to the university to make a presentation. Because what are you going to present? Because you are in the midst of people who every day, they lock up themselves in a room and they want to visit everywhere in the world. And when Professor Ganga asked me to come, I said, yes, I will come. If not, then I will speak. And today, I have the opportunity to stand before you to speak. And so I will do. Having said all that, okay, Madam Chairman, I have a written speech, and I want to crave your indulgence to read my speech. I am deeply honored to address you today as the president of the Nigerian Institute of Quantity Surveyors in commemoration of the World Habitat Day 2025. This occasion marks 40 years since the United Nations established the day in 1985, with the first celebration held in 1986. At its heart, World Habitat Day reminds us that shelter is a fundamental human right, a necessity that must be accessible to all. Its purpose is clear: to raise awareness about global housing challenges, the environmental impact of urbanization, and the urgent need to build sustainable, inclusive, and resilient cities. As professionals in the built environment, we must continually underscore these values and commit ourselves to advancing them through our work. Organizations like Habitat for Humanity are now calling for everyone to join together as one global network in communicating the message that every one of us deserves the opportunity for a better future, and that a decent place to live can remove barriers to opportunities, health, and success that might have been part of a family's life for years, and in many cases for generations. Therefore, this day serves as a reminder to governments, organizations, and individuals to reflect on how urban development affects the environment and human well-being. This year's theme, Urban Crisis Response, resonates deeply with the challenges we face in Nigeria and across the globe. As built environment professionals, we play a vital role in shaping the built environment, ensuring that infrastructure development is designed and executed with precision, efficiency, and sustainability in mind. Our expertise in urban planning, architecture, estate management, engineering, and quantity surveying positions us uniquely to contribute to the response and resolution of urban crisis. Therefore, as we gather here today to reflect on this theme, it is only fitting that we must examine the current state of urbanization in Nigeria. Nigeria's urban population is growing rapidly, and with it, the challenges of providing adequate housing, infrastructure, and services. Our cities are hubs of economic activities, innovation, and cultural diversity. But they also face significant pressures, including overcrowding, inadequate infrastructure, and environmental degradation. Despite several government interventions, such as the Renewed Hope Housing Program, Renewed Hope Cities and Estate, single-digit interest rate mortgages by the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, the Shelter Afrique Development Bank partnership to build a landmark 5,000 housing units in the first phase with plans for nationwide expansion and the improved budget allocation of 32 billion naira for special housing initiatives. These challenges remain very visible. The Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria estimates that the housing deficit in Nigeria has grown to 28 million units in 2025, with an average of 700,000 units required annually to bridge the gap. If you divide it by 28 million, you know the number of years that would take to bridge the gap. Inadequate infrastructure, including roads, drainage channels, water supply, and sanitation is at the forefront of the challenges that escalate urban crisis. The increased rural-urban migration further contributes to the already existing housing shortage, particularly to affordable housing options. This results in overcrowding and the proliferation of informal settlements and slums. In addition, these forms of urban cities create social inequalities, often disproportionately affecting vulnerable populations, including the poor and the marginalized. Another critical challenge of urbanization on environmental degradation, especially to the loss of green spaces, ecological imbalance, urban pollution, and floods. It can be surmised that rapid urbanization has brought about unprecedented challenges in our cities. Therefore, addressing the theme of this year's World Habitat Day, Urban Crisis Response, highlights the need for collective action to tackle these issues and create sustainable, resilient, and livable cities. The built environment professionals are critical to these efforts, and to effectively respond to urban crisis, we must focus our energies in collaborating to address the following key areas. 1. Sustainable urban planning. Professionals need to develop comprehensive plans that integrate environmental, social, and economic consideration to create resilient and livable cities. 2. Urban renewal and regeneration. Expertise in urban renewal and regeneration is necessary to revitalize deteriorated areas and promote sustainable urban development. 3. Climate change mitigation and adaptation. Our built environments must be designed and constructed to mitigate the impacts of climate change, reducing carbon emissions, and promoting energy efficiency. Therefore, built environment professionals must know how to design and implement climate-resilient infrastructure, such as flood control channels, retention ponds, and green spaces. 4. Green infrastructure. Expertise in green infrastructure, including green roofs, urban parks, and wind land, is crucial for enhancing climate resilience and providing multiple benefits. 5. Sustainable infrastructure development. We need to prioritize sustainable infrastructure development, including affordable green spaces and efficient transportation systems. Professionals must be knowledgeable about sustainable transportation system, including bike-friendly streets, pedestrian-friendly infrastructure, and public transportation. You know, the bike-friendly streets. When I went to the Netherlands, I saw the way the motorists were, extremely very careful when they see people who ride bike. Then I had to pause and ask the Uber driver who was taking me around. I said, "Why are you?" I said, "Move now." He said that he doesn't want to end up in jail. So we must learn to design our cities in a way that will accommodate bike riders like us, those of us who ride bike. I'm sure the dean also ride bike, because I can see his slim nature. Energy efficiency and renewable energy. Built environment professionals need to understand how to design energy efficient buildings and promote the use of renewable energy sources. Data analysis and monitoring. Built environment professionals need to be skilled in data analysis and monitoring to assess the effectiveness of urban planning and implementation initiatives in order to make necessary adjustments. Community engagement and participation. Professionals should be skilled in engaging with local communities and stakeholders to ensure their input and participation in the planning process. That is the core of sustainability. You must get the locals involved. Affordable construction option. Majority of Nigerian city dwellers require affordable housing and infrastructure to survive. Built environment professionals must develop affordable construction options that will cater for the majority of city dwellers. Policy development and implementation. Built environment professionals need to be familiar with policy initiatives and programs that promote sustainable urban development, such as the Nigerian Climate Change Framework and the Low Carbon Transportation Policy. Collaboration and partnership. Effective response to urban crisis requires collaboration and partnership among built environment professionals and other stakeholders. Professionals should be able to work effectively with various stakeholders, including government agencies, community groups, civil society groups, and private developers. Finally, we should advocate for policy changes and investments that support sustainable urban development and crisis response. We must ensure that procurement processes are transparent, efficient, and fair, and that contracts are administered effectively to deliver projects on time within budget. As we commemorate World Habitat Day 2025, let us reaffirm our commitment to creating sustainable, resilient, and equitable cities. I urge all stakeholders, including government agencies, private sector entities, and civil society organizations, to work together to address the challenges of urbanization and ensure that our cities are fit for purpose. By leveraging our expertise and working collaboratively, we can build a better future for all Nigerians and contribute to achieving sustainable development goals. Of course, as always and as ever, the Nigerian Institute of Point Surveyors is committed to contributing to this effort with all its might, resources, and in any capacity in which it may be called upon. We recognize the importance of collective action and collaboration in addressing urban crisis. Let us work together to create a better future for our cities and our citizens. Thank you.
Thank you. That was our first keynote presenter, Quantity Surveyor Kenny C. Nzekwe, Fellow Nigerian Institute of Quantity Surveyors. I hope I have bailed myself out. May I once again recognize the presence of the Center Leader, Sustainable Procurement, Environmental and Social Standard Center of Excellence, PESE, Professor W.S. Japhet. I learned he was out of the hall when I called his name earlier. So you are most welcome. I will now quickly invite our second keynote presenter, who is no other than Surveyor Chief Pius Chukwuemeka Eze, Fellow Nigerian Institute of Surveyors, President Nigerian Institute of Surveyors, ably represented by another correction again, Surveyor Bashir Mahmoud, not Mohammed, Vice President Nigerian Institute of Surveyors. Okay, Chairman.
Yes, thank you very much. You can see that I've interjected. I'm the chairman of this occasion, and I'm coordinating based on the program. My brother, I'm sorry. Yes, yeah. You know, he had just, Brother Chris, I don't want to go into jail also by mispronouncing your name. So I find it very easy to call you Brother Chris. Please pardon my jargon. You have made it. It's a very beautiful speech and very, very educative. Wallahi, anybody who did not take cognizance of what he said, to Gaskiya, we don't belong to this group. One, there are three issues he mentioned, which I don't want to repeat what he said, but it boils on two things. The first one is, it has relevance to this institution, ABU. Please, teachers that are teaching related environmental courses should look at EIA very serious, environmental impact assessment on whatever level, and your paper has addressed that. We should also look at the analysis of growth of cities. You can use Shannon entropy. At what direction are our cities growing? Are they mega cities, or are they jigsaws of conglomerations of just village, whatever? So look at the nature of your cities. Always evaluate them. It is here in your listing, which is very good. Then, is it academia? Is it economic? Is it whatever? Is it academia? Is it economic? Is it whatever? So these three things you have really addressed. Wallahi, thank you very much. Now, I leave it open to some of my colleagues. MC, now let's agree. Do we present both papers because of timing? Then we can discuss, or we go through the protocol. Please, this is democracy. Please, what do we do, my brothers? You present your paper and then discuss. To me, I belong to the old group, old guard. If you say A, my A is A, because I'm going through what I have here. Otherwise, I wouldn't have interjected. Please, sorry for my interjection. My brother, you are welcome. Gashi.
The Vice Chancellor of Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, the chairperson of the occasion, Dean of the Faculty of Environmental Design, the Director of Urban Regional Planning, I want to stand on the already established protocol. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. I want to speak as a surveyor because I've been surveying all my life. Yes. The World Habitat Day was established by United Nations as a global mandate for reflection, accountability, and action. It is a day we are called to remember one of the most fundamental of human rights as enshrined in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the right to adequate shelter. Since inception in 1986 at Nairobi, Kenya, World Habitat had held up a mirror to the state of our towns and cities, forcing us to confront an uncomfortable truth that for billions, the dream of a safe, healthy, and resilient habitat remains but just a dream. The theme of this year, Urban Crisis Response, is very apt. It acknowledges the fact that the urban habitat is under constant threat, and our response to this crisis will define the future of human dignity and development. The urban crisis. We are living in an unprecedented era of urbanization. According to the World Bank, over 56% of the world population lives in cities. This number is projected to reach 68% by 2050. In Nigeria, the population is growing at a rate of 4.3% annually. One of the rapid and often unplanned growth has led to public crisis, a confluence of housing shortage, environmental degradation, inadequate infrastructure, and social inequality. United Nations estimates that 1.3 billion people live in slums and informal settlements, a number that is tragically rising. These are not just statistics. They are a stark reality of vulnerability. When a flood, pandemic, or conflict strike, as we have seen, it is these overcrowded and undeserved communities that suffer the most. The question is not as a passive one, when will a crisis occur, but an active one. How do we, the custodians of the built environment, choose to respond to the next inevitable test? The silo mentality, a failed response. Traditionally, our response to urban challenges has been fragmented. The surveyor produces, the planner owns the city, the architect designs the structure, the builder executes the construction, the engineer lays the infrastructure, and the quantity surveyor costs it. We have operated in professional silos, a model that is dangerously obsolete. The fragmentation is why we repeatedly see buildings created on floodplains, because geospatial data was so integrated into the planning, design, and approval processes. Infrastructure projects that are costed accurately but fail to account for social and environmental externalities. Beautiful architectural designs that are fundamentally unbuildable or unsustainable on the designated assigned plot. The 2022 floods in Nigeria, which displaced over 1.4 million people and damaged vast swaths of urban infrastructure, were a tragic testament of this failure of integrated data sharing and planning. Our professional silos and do not just delay projects, they actively amplify the crisis we are trying to solve. Only radical and mandatory study can mitigate them. The final synergy, the geospatial framework. So where do we begin? We begin with a shared, accurate, and intelligent understanding of the space we are working with. This is the fundamental role of the surveying and geoinformatics profession. As I said earlier, I am talking as a surveyor. Think of it as a of our cities and towns. It is a dynamic and virtual model of that integrates geologic control network, which has the precise positional framework, topographic and bathymetric data, that is the shape of the land and the water bodies, land information system, who owns what and where are his rights, geographic information system, the intelligent layering of infrastructure utilities, population densities, environmental risk, and more. A study by the Geospatial World Forum found that integrated geospatial data can improve the efficiency of urban infrastructure projects by up to 20% and reduce unforeseen costs by 15%. This is the bedrock upon which true synergy is built. A symphony of professions, practical synergy in action. Let us visualize this synergy in responding to a specific urban crisis. I have classified this into 4. The first phase is rapid assessment and data acquisition. That is when the surveyors and geologic engineers deploy drones and LiDAR technology to create a high-resolution 3D maps of the disaster zone within hours, identifying safe zones, damaged infrastructure, and change topography. This data is instantly uploaded to a cloud-based platform accessible to all stakeholders in the built environment. Phase 2, the planning and design. Urban and regional planners use this real-time data for temporary shelters, logistics roads, and identify land for permanent settlement, avoiding high-risk areas. Architects and industrial designers use the accurate digital terrain model. They design resilient and context-appropriate housing and community structures. SS surveyors and valuers can access the data and come up with cost of structures for compensation. Phase execution. Civil and electrical engineers will provide efficient and cost-effective defense infrastructure based on the realities on ground. Builders and quantity surveyors, with access to the same model, can provide accurate material estimates, construction methodologies, and cost plans that account for the new ground realities, avoiding costly on-site. Then the phase 4, the monitoring. Here, all professionals are present. The integrated geospatial data is continuously updated. Surveyors monitor the settlement of new infrastructures. Planners ensure new design aligns with long-term master plan for a more resilient, accessible city, integrated green spaces, and efficient land use. This creates a feedback loop of continuous improvement and accountability. This is not a theoretical model. If you travel through around the world, you find cities that have this kind of things working. I went to Malaysia. In fact, the TV they have, I think, is as big as this wall. You see things in real life as they are happening. And because everybody is working and is putting his data there. So cities like Singapore and Rotterdam have used such integrated data-driven approaches to become world leaders in resilience. The Nigerian call to action, forging a new path. The time for polite segmented conversion is over. We must move from fragmentation to forceful integration. For us in Nigeria, the path is clear. We must, 1, champion integrated data platforms. We must advocate for an integrated geospatial data platforms, starting with all our capital cities. A centralized, secure geospatial data infrastructure that is freely accessible to the profession in the built environment. 2, the integrated data platform should be a tool and not an office, because that is one of the problems we have. These systems are set up in some cities, and they are generally called GIS, with slight variation from one state to another. In Kaduna State, they call it CADGIS. When you go to CADGIS, you discover that it is established as an office, not as a tool. What we need are tools. These tools should be accessible to people. But when you go, discover that some people are there thinking that these are established for them. So it reduces the efficiency of these things. They don't work. Apart from that, they don't work. You have professional rivalry. So these are problems. And because Erufai was the first person that set up GIS in FCT, people are copying FCT thinking it's the right model. It's not the right model. It's far better than us. Because GIS, these cities where you travel throughout the world, you find that people, all sort of professionals, put their data there. Everybody has what he contributes. It's just like the body. If you feel your nails are not important, remove them. You feel how important they are. So that is how these systems work. Everybody has what he contributes. He puts it there. We all benefit by accessing them and utilizing them. The only thing we do is everybody protects his data. You can see my data, but you don't change the data. I can see your data, but I don't change your data. So the ownership crisis is resolved by doing that. Reform curriculum. Our institutions like this great university and by essential faculty of environmental design should lead the way by embedding in the disciplinary modules where students of different departments collaborate on a real project from their first year. We need to teach synergy, not just visualization. Allow room for expansion. We should allow professors to expand while still collaborating. Madam Chairman, I wanted the VC to be here when I'm talking these things. When I left, I graduated from Zaria here. When I left Zaria in 1988, my department was called Department of Surveying. Later on, we were under Faculty of Engineering. Later on, they changed to, I think, geomatics. They started, at that time, what we were given is degree, BSc Land Surveying. Then later, they were given the BSc Geomatics. Then later I changed to surveying and geomatics. So, and they were moved to environmental design. There are crises. And the truth is, in schools, even in Nigeria, when you go to Kado Polytechnic, if you want to read, you can read you can read photogrammetry as a course. You can read cartography as a course. You can read land survey as a course. And in some universities, you can even read hydrography as a course. And the truth is that all these are sciences of measurement of the earth, that is, of getting real positions of points on the point of earth. But they use different methods. So the truth is, and I think that is what ABU should move into, to set a pace for other universities to follow. Survey needs to become a faculty, where all these things will be departments, because they are different things. I can decide to become a hydrographer, I don't really learn surveying, and I will function. So these are how these things are done. We can expand, and I want this message. It is a message from Nigerian Institute of Surveyors. I want this to be passed to the Vice Chancellor. Let them look at it, because it's not that they are moving them from one place to the other, and we can get the best out of them. Because, as I say, some people are being marginalized. When you look at cartographers now, they are nowhere, and you need them because they are the technicians of the survey profession. But they are marginalized, and they are forming different associations. We're having issues here and there. Yes. So please, and I say everybody has what to offer. In the room, the place is so much for us to grow. Yes, it's only synergy we need. You don't need to bring somebody under you. Allow him to function, just regulate him. The regulatory bodies are there to do their work. Then the regulatory bodies should be strengthened to do their work. I think they should have the courage to tell people in authority the truth. That is why they are there. They should not be afraid. There are things that are going wrong, and nobody is able to come and say these things are wrong. A good example is like what is happening with these GIS things. They are killing everywhere. That's the truth. It's only when you are there you think they are progressing. Because professions have not changed. It's the technology that has evolved and helped us in performing our duties. So it's the same old duties, it's the same old surveying, it's the same old planning, it's the same old practice. All are the same old courses for generations. But when technology comes, technology only help you to achieve your aim in a better way. But people are collecting technologies like in FCT. When the GIS came, they even created what is called like a kata. So you find that instead of calling survey one, they call it, I think it's GIS one, they call it or something like that. It's nothing. So it is, but because this is created by the politicians, they bring people who they feel are close to them, they give them the authority there, and these people are just telling them what they want to hear. And our regulatory bodies and the professional associations are there. They are supposed to talk, they are not talking. So they should have the courage to tell government the truth. So policy advocacy. All of us should advocate for these policies, especially for projects, for public infrastructure projects. Because as Harry Truman said, it's amazing how far we can go if we don't want to take the credit. So that is how it is. In conclusion, Chairman, urban crisis is a stress test of the system we have built, both physical and professional. Our current fragmented system is failing the test. But with this faculty and across the nation, we have the talent, the technology, and the intelligence to change the narrative. The theme urban crisis response is not a passive reflection. It is a call to action. It demands that we break down our silos and build bridges of data, dialogue, and mutual respect. The surveyor step must connect with the architect's blueprint and the planner's zoning map and the builder's schedule. Let us hear today, not just as architects, let us not live here today, not just as architects, surveyors, or planners, but as integrated warriors in the battle for sustainable urban future. Let us build cities that are not just places to live, but places that are resilient, equitable, and truly livable. Thank you.
Let me now hand down the mic to the chairman to coordinate the discussion session. And we're going to have goodwill messages after the discussion. 2 minutes for the selected speakers. Chairperson.
Thank you. Oh, okay. Thank you very much, MC. My brother in the QS. Whether it's quantification or qualification, you have examples in Kaduna State. Just 2 minutes so that I don't take much of your time. I'm not here to lecture, but he has touched Kaduna State is leading. You see the urban renewals in Kaduna State and all what I chaired it, but I never spoke. I never allow anybody to know. World Bank is saying that Lagos should use the protocol of Kaduna State. So we thank everybody for that. For the geo-analysis, that is GIS, the GIS of Kaduna or Kajis is there as a unit for administration. There are no experts there. In fact, so departments, they are hoping that departments of geography, geomatics should come for training. So at the course of his lecture, what we should take from his presentation is that all related environmentally friendly courses or faculties should look at land use dynamics, the study of land use dynamics, and then terrain analysis. With that, we can use the
talking about urban crisis. Yes, if there's a good plan, I think we should be able to say maybe in the next 5 years, there's going to be a sort of population explosion, and therefore another satellite town or thereabout should be opened and make it affordable for people to affordability of building homes or rents and the rest. Do we ever care about the health hazards we face? Because I've seen some settlements under high tension in Zaria, and people are there living. So what are we doing to address such issues? Because it's very, very pertinent. Now you hear of cancers and the rest of it. It's all caused by radiation. And people have been living in such environment for more than 20 years or thereabout. I hope this conference or this day will address such issues. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, employer. She's a member of our council, so my employer, thank you very much. Well, like it all goes back to what my brother is saying. Contractors are now the ones singing and dancing the truth. You say, these are my ancestral land. I hope we will learn our lesson. But thank God we have nature. Nature will teach us a lesson. So whether you report nature to God, nature doesn't speak, but nature acts. So go and keep building your houses at river beds under high tension. Thank you. Yes. Okay. Please, anybody on the high table? Sir, you want to say? Because I'm opening it up to my younger generation. Yes, please do. I'll make it open. You have questions or additions, tell us where you are from, who you are, what your affinity is, so that we'll know from which angle you are asking your question or adding up.
Thank you. Let me give it to the Professor. Thank you very much. I'll stand here so that you don't have to strain your neck. Thank you very much. I'll make good use of these 2 minutes. Just standing on the existing protocol, I thank you for the invitation to attend this event. My name is Professor Sarah Simons. I'm a Kenyan, currently based in sociology department. So the perspective I'm going to bring on the issue is sociological. And the issue of urbanization is very important, but UN Habitat, I'm from Kenya and we host the UN Habitat, so I will share with you examples from the ground. We always involve students, so I commend you for inviting the students so that they can take this knowledge, make it their own. But most importantly, UN Habitat has a Safer Cities program, because all this development we are talking about is for human beings to create as well as to live in. And therefore, I commend the earlier speaker who spoke about multi or interdisciplinary approach to urban development. That is very important, because urbanization in the development world has been accompanied with increased levels of crime and violence. The cities we are talking about, the urbanization changes spaces, and these spaces, the urban dwellers have an increased feeling of insecurity. And therefore, I recommend that in the next celebration, that we try and have an interdisciplinary approach, which is where the world is heading, which applies a human security approach to developing urban safety. The reason why I mention this is not that the evidence is lacking. I have one of our final year level 4 students who is actually collecting data now for her small project on the vulnerabilities, environmental vulnerabilities within Zaria, certain particular residential areas that are making students vulnerable to robbery. So I recommend that, and I request that at the next session, we probably have students present evidence. I'm sure other departments have, so that instead of me speaking from an environmental criminology point of view, I'm a criminologist, I'm a victimologist, but I suggest that we hear the data from the actual students who have collected the data. So World Habitat Day could include some multiple perspectives from others as well. Reports on how these urban spaces in Zaria make students vulnerable to acts of robbery and crime. So that, so in addition to that presentation, our students often do research and have nowhere to go with that research when they finish. I'm recommending that you open up spaces where these students can come and inject some of that information, either as an intern or something, but so that after they've submitted the report, we've been given the deadline of end this month, after they've submitted the report, it doesn't end there, but so that they feel that they're contributing something to the safety or to decisions about safety of fellow students. She's sampling different residential areas, and they also know of colleagues who have also been robbed. So let's make the knowledge ours. Let's make it work for us. And I close by thanking you, because my time is up, thanking you for this opportunity, because sociologists rarely get an opportunity at such forums. But I thank the organizers for inviting me, and I encourage that perhaps, as the Vice Chancellor said, let's not, okay, this is a launching pad, a starting point, but let's not just limit the information to here, because we will talk and put the researchers, but the people who make the decisions out there need also to have the idea and to appreciate multiple perspectives, which I'm sure you already do. But let's have that. So I hope that the student can be able to present that evidence at the next one, or even a poster. Thank you very much.
Let me tell you, let me leak something for you. Because of my relationship with Professor Sarah, I have come to appreciate environmental criminology. Thank you very much. There are victims of environmental crisis, not really plagued from man, not triggered by man. Somebody took God to court. I have always said it. Someone in Nebraska, one very Yankee, took God to court, where he wants to know why volcanism, earthquake, flooding, all these things occur. So it will take the judge as a mad person to answer what he said. So madness can begin madness. But in Nigeria, we need some affinity to live within the central business district and pre-urban. If you look at the uneven relationship in Africa and in the Western world, go to Australia, go to US, Canada, Germany, and Netherlands. The rich stay at the peri-urbans. The poor are in the downtowns. Make your research, that's correct. But in Nigeria, everybody wants to be in the downtown or in the central business district. Why? That is the beginning of our Waterloo. Let's appreciate our peri-urban environment. Let there be a locational analysis and assessment every year. My brother, Don Allah, you are in the built environment. Assess how we live in terms of spatial locations. Give us the blueprint. If we don't stop, nobody is to blame but we. Are we ready to take chances and to pay prices? I am ready. You may be ready, but others may not. I have paid prizes upon prizes on being a director of certain agencies in Kaduna State because I tell them, do the right thing. I was in Kepa. I was given so many names, Mamongola, this and that. I even got this issue on legislation, the punishment and reward. Mobile courts, bosses, to punish those that are messing up our urban centers. Are you willing to get several nicknames? Neither I have, but they are good nicknames to me. To them, they are negative, but to me, it's good because we are taking. Are you ready to take risks? So if you are, then play it safe and do the right thing. I think that should be. My brothers, my sisters, my students, my grandkids, wallahi, I cannot thank you enough. The Dean, Chairperson, my bros, wallahi, it's not time for Thanksgiving yet, but I'm thanking you in
Education with the Chairperson of Education, members of the High Table, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we have made progress. All that is left now, some goodwill messages, followed by the presentation of flags, then we take the vote of thanks from the chairperson organizing committee or chair organizing committee. So for the goodwill messages, I have a tall list, but please, I'm directed to inform all the speakers that you only have 2 minutes to quickly make your point. Let me begin by inviting the Center Special Professor W.S. Japed to give his goodwill message. You have 2 minutes.
The chairperson, Ma, with your kind permission, I want to stay on the existing protocol. Good afternoon, all. I want to especially thank the Faculty of Environmental Design for putting this wonderful package. It's actually highly very commendable, especially at this time that we're talking about urban crisis. And again, I also want to thank all the keynote speakers. Their presentation was very apt and very germane to the point. They addressed these issues. And all of you, the discussants, the audience, your contribution actually helped to add a flavor in what we have today. Mrs. Chairperson, Ma, I have 2 minutes. The first minute, I will use it, a little contribution by first minute. The second minute, goodwill message. So, issue of responding to urban crisis. I'm looking at the urban crisis from another perspective. Dr. Habibu mentioned that we're from natural sciences. We're looking at the natural environment. And then everybody knows that urbanization has been implicated as one of the factors that cause natural habitat destruction. I want us to pause and reflect on 3 things. We have 3 basic necessities of life. Without these 3 basic necessities, a person, you and I, cannot function. Number 1 necessity is shelter. And now when I say shelter, I'm not saying that you go and stay in a very big mansion. No. A shelter that can just protect you from the sun and the rainfall is enough. That's 1 basic necessity. Without that, you cannot function as a human being. Number 2, very important, food. And you know the adage that they say, a hungry man is a what? Without food, you cannot function as a human being. Number 3, and by no means the least, clothing. I'm not saying you should go out and wear, you must wear, what are the popular fashion in vogue? Just cover your nakedness. So these 3 basic necessities, we get them from the natural habitat. So this highly underscores the need for us to use the natural habitat sustainably. And I'm very happy I'm in a familiar environment. So you have the built environment and the natural sciences. That's why we're talking about collaboration. But unfortunately, we're talking about urban crisis. Nigeria has the highest rate of habitat destruction. I'm talking about a very important component of the habitat, which is forests and trees. I can say as part of the program, we have tree planting, which is highly, highly very commendable. Nigeria has one of the highest rates of deforestation in the world. For annually, 400,000 trees are lost annually to deforestation. That is not palatable. 400,000, and it's increasing. This data is maybe perhaps 5 years ago. It's actually increasing. It's getting worse. Why? Because we're talking about energy. Most of our households are relying on the forest for their energy. We have gas that we're not exploiting, we're not leveraging on gas. Everybody will tell you in the world. Nigeria is not just a crude oil producing country, it's a gas country. And we flare this gas everywhere. So it's a sad development. That's why I want to commend the Faculty of Environmental Design. My colleague, Ahmadu in Natural Sciences, was asking, why did they call us Natural Sciences? I said, you have to showcase yourself now. It's when you become innovative and you showcase yourself, you will not always collaborate. So next time, I want to see more of the collaboration. And I noted one thing, actually. We in ABU, we work in isolation, which is not good. We need to step up our game and collaborate. So once again, without taking much of our time, I want to commend the Department of Environmental Design that will keep it up. And we in SPACE will do all we can to support you, both in terms of capacity building and other intervention. Thank you. Have a great day ahead. Thank you very much.
The next person to give us the good news messages is no other than the Dean Faculty of Life Sciences, Professor Mariam Mukhtar.
Good afternoon. I would also like to stand on the existing protocol. But before I give my Google message, I have just 1 minute advice I want to give. It's concerning environmental health. Environmental health is not just about keeping our environment and surroundings clean. It is about safeguarding the very system that sustains our life. I am sure that is what the speakers are trying to say. So the air we breathe, the water we drink, and the spaces we inhabit all determine our well-being, which is very important. So when we neglect waste management, because I didn't see many the speakers talking so much about this. So when we neglect waste management, pollute our environment, or build without proper planning, because that's the angle they were talking about, we compromise public health and increase vulnerability to diseases and disaster. So I'm talking about the disease aspect of it. So each and every one of us, as citizens, as professionals, and policy makers, have a role to play. We all have a role to play. So I want to say that we should all adopt sustainable practices, strengthen environmental monitoring, which is very, very what Professor, my mother, has been talking about, and design cities that promote health rather than endanger it. So I want to say that clean environment are not a luxury, they are a necessity for a healthy and productive society. We need clean environment. When I came, I was given a sweet, and after taking that sweet, because I didn't come with my bag, I didn't want to put it down. I kept on holding it until they brought this bag, and I put it inside the bag. That is the way I am. Ever since the period of late President Ahmadu Buhari, even as I drive, I'm in my car, I get to my house before I drop trash. I do not even leave them in the car. So now I want to go to the goodwill message. I want to start by congratulating the Faculty of Environmental Design for this very important program with very apt team, which is responding to urban crisis. The team is both very timely and thought-provoking as our urban centers continue to face pressing challenges arising from rapid population growth, inadequate planning, environmental degradation, and the growing impact of environmental and climate change, which you have had. The call to respond to this crisis demands creativity, research, driven solutions, which they try to provide today, and collaboration across discipline. That is what Dr. Atta talked about and our center leader talked about. It demands collaboration across discipline. Next time, I will also want us to invite those that are in health sectors to tell us how does the environment, the impact in them, how does it affect our health? That is one aspect we also want to hear. I particularly commend the organizers, the Dean of Environmental Design, the chairman of the occasion, the speakers that are invited today for this important dialogue, and for inviting the distinguished speakers that have done justice to the topic. And I know that what they have said today has no doubt enriched our discourse today. So the speakers' perspective have certainly helped frame practical and innovative approaches towards building a resilient and inclusive, sustainable city. So the Faculty of Life Sciences, which I am from, I stand in solidarity with the Faculty of Environmental Design in the quest to align science, design, and policy for the betterment of our community. So I support you. Together, we can develop responses that not only address today's urban challenges, but also anticipate the needs of tomorrow. So I want to congratulate the Dean, the planners, the guest speakers for this laudable initiative. And I wish all participants an enduring impact, which I'm sure you have learned from all the speakers. Congratulations once again. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me also call on Professor Sarah Agnella Simons for from the Department of Sociology here, Ahmadu University.
I'll be very brief because I've been given a second chance. I came here under an MOU between ABU and University of Nairobi, and I would like us to utilize that in ways that benefit us going forward. So I'll just make 3 suggestions. The first one, the chairman, the president of Kenya National Institute of Surveyors, whatever the professional body called, is one of my mentees. I would be very happy to introduce you so that you can be able to do that. Very present, because we host UN Habitat in Nairobi, and you know, being host gives you some leeway to certain ways in which you can get things done. So I would be very happy to introduce you. The former boss of Habitat was the witness at my wedding 35 years ago. So that's someone I can introduce you, because they know where the granary is. Because to make these things happen, you need to know where the sugar crumbs come from, yeah? Finally, all this leads us to possibility of developing courses. When I was a lecturer in education, we said education is supposed to equip people with skills to deal with needs in society. In 1985, my father set up the first School of Environmental Studies at Moi University. I would be very happy to link any department that wants to set up courses with that. That was the first School of Environmental Studies in Africa. So utilize me while I'm here, okay? Thank you very much.
That's a good one. Let me now invite the chairman, Kaduna State Chapter of Nigerian Institute of Quantity Surveyors, QS Dr. Bukola Aluko Aloka. I'm not saying I'm
the chairman of the occasion, faculty members, students of the Faculty of Environmental Design. Good afternoon to you all. On behalf of the Nigerian Institute of Quantity Surveyors, it is with immense pleasure that I extend our warmest greetings to you all as we gather to commemorate World Habitat Day. This day serves as a powerful reminder of our collective responsibility to shape habitats that are not only sustainable and resilient, but also just and inclusive. There is no more befitting place to host this critical conversation than within the Faculty of Environmental Design. You are the incubators of the ideas, the creators of the blueprints, and the builders of the expertise that will define our urban future. Today's theme, focusing on responding to urban crisis, strikes at the very heart of your mission. The challenges of climate change, rapid urbanization, and housing insecurity are complex, but they are not insurmountable. They are in fact a design brief for a new generation of visionaries. To the faculty, the Institute acknowledges your pivotal role in mentoring the minds that will tackle these grand challenges. Your research and teaching provides the essential foundation upon which resilient communities are built. And to the students, the future architects, planners, and quantity surveyors, and environmental specialists in this room, you are the most crucial part of this equation. The knowledge you are going to gain here is your most powerful tool. You are learning not just to design structures, but to design systems, not just to plan cities, but to safeguard communities. You are being equipped to be more than professionals. You are being prepared to be stewards of our planet and guardians of our collective well-being. As you have engaged in this dialogue today, remember that you are the architects of a more sustainable and equitable world. Let this World Habitat Day ignite in you a renewed sense of purpose and possibility. So we wish all of us a profoundly insightful and inspiring event, which we have just had. And may the discussions that begin within these walls ripple outwards to great waves of positive change in our cities and communities. So thank you for inviting us.
May I call on the chairman, Kaduna chapter of the Nigerian Institute of Surveyors, Surveyor Maikano Samson, to also give us.
Thank you very much, Chairman, and I want to stand on existing protocol. Goodwill message on behalf of Nigerian Institution of Surveyors, Kaduna State Branch. I extend our warmest goodwill message to the Faculty of Environmental Design, Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, and to all participants gathered here today to commemorate the 2025 World Habitat Day with the theme, Responding to Urban Crisis. The theme is both timely and relevant as to our urban centers are increasingly confronted with challenges ranging from population growth, inadequate housing, environmental degradation, to insecurity, climate-related risks. Addressing this crisis requires collective responsibility, innovative planning, and sustainable policies that promote human dignity and inclusiveness. We remain committed to provide geospatial data as surveyors, professional expertise, innovative solutions that support sustainable land use, orderly urban development, planning, and effective disaster risk management. Our role in shaping livable cities and resilient communities cannot be overemphasized. And we pledge to continue working with governmental organizations, academia, like Ahmadu Bello University, and other stakeholders to make this vision a reality. Once more, we want to commend the Faculty of Environmental Design, Ahmadu Bello University, for organizing this event and for its continuous effort in fostering dialogue and knowledge that will inspire positive change in our society. Happy World Habitat Day 2025. We are very, very happy to be here, and we all agree that the challenge number one we have is collaborative effort. Sometimes one professional will want to do everything, which is not true and is not possible. So our take-up here is that I'm new as the chairman of Kaduna State Branch of Nigerian Institution of Surveyors. Having seen the chairperson of IQS, you see it's a collaborative effort. I'm going to have a chat with her, and then we'll continue from here. Thank you.
Thank you. I have been advised to crave your indulgence to also notify you that the immediate past Vice Chancellor of this university, Professor Kabir Bala, even I all had wanted to be here, if not for just a sudden change of his program. So I'm told to inform you that this was his intention, and he has wished to join us here to also participate in this event. Thank you. So may I call on the Head of Department of Urban and Regional Planning, Dr. Yakubu Ali Ogunu, to also give his goodwill message. We're not against time, so you have 2 minutes.
Good afternoon, everyone, and happy World Habitat Day. I think at the core of what we have heard today is this idea of synergy and collaboration, but it's easier said than done. So to achieve that, we need to get rid of our old ways. And, old habits, as they say, die hard. So I hope and pray that as we leave this place, we will find the strength as well as wisdom and also energy to engender this collaboration. Thank you very much. Good afternoon.
Let me now invite QS Yahya Abubakar to also give his goodwill.
Good afternoon, Chairman, and all protocols observed. As a practicing quantity surveyor, while I was invited by my head of department, why I say my head of department, even though I'm not a student here, was the fact that the Department of Quantity Surveying is always in collaboration with us that are outside. So when he invited me, I said, this is Habitat Day. What is he going to do with the habitat? Then he explained that, it's a collaborative effort. And surely all speakers here have emphasized how much we can gain out of this collaboration. I pray and I hope that we will take it away from here and work on it, just as the HOD was trying to tell us now. Now, having said that, I must commend the environmental design team that put up this exercise. We are also happy to hear that it started since 2023, and sustaining it to 2025 and possibly beyond is commendable. We hope to be here all the time and hear more of solutions that we could also implement individually and collectively. Because the solution to what we are talking about cannot only be from government, it can be also individual. And once you are equipped with what you want to do, then you call on others to do it along with you. Once again, I must commend the department and hope that you keep the flag flying, and hoping that all the next one we shall have will be more elaborative than this one. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now to our students, may I quickly invite Farouk Muhammad Gali of Quantity Survey. Please, you have 2 minutes. Just go straight to the point.
Good evening, all. Standing on existing protocol. First of all, I would like to thank all our keynote speakers here. Today, as we celebrate World Habitat Day with the theme response to urban crisis, we are to remember the challenges we are facing currently, such as the rapid urbanization, housing strategies, environmental threats, and etc. What I can say is that we, as a student, we are here to learn, to see how we can impact the environment, how we can change everything. We are to be guided on the problems we are facing and to provide solutions, because we believe that the changes are to begin from here, from the very environment of the school environment. We are to provide solutions that are sustainable, affordable, and efficient. What I believe that is that all of us here, we should raise the next generation of professionals ready to design, build, and sustain better habitat for all. Thank you.
You have all the points. Next student to respond. Now we are going descend to the secondary school level. Farouk Usani Ahaya of Model Learning School.
Good morning, members of High Table, invited guests, and everyone. My name is Farouk Sani Ahaya, head of Degree School, Model Learning School. Ladies and gentlemen, today we gather to discuss a critical issue that affects all of us. Nigeria's urban population is growing rapidly, and with the risk of the urban crisis, we need to take precaution measures to prevent hazards for the community. I'm pleading, if this will be brought into the school curriculum, it will really help the students. It will really help the student, not even the student alone, the whole society. You see, this is not a fight. This is not a fight for one person. It's a fight for all of us, not only the government, the politicians. If me and you can change, the society will change at large. So the question is, what are you planning to do? Thank you very much for listening.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is not for me to make comment, but you can see how he has summarized all the presentations, the discussions, the questions, what have you, and answers and solutions. Please let us put our hands together once. Last but not the least, Ahmadu Olorundare Mary.
Good day, everyone. All protocols duly observed. My name is Olorundare from GGSS Samaru. I really appreciate the Department of Environmental Design, Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, for organizing the World Habitats Day program with the theme Responding to Urban Crisis. This event was highly educative and inspiring, and it has deepened my understanding on how to respond to urban crisis and the role I can play to better my home and community at large. Your effort in creating this program for learning has not only broadened my knowledge, but also has motivated me to contribute meaningfully in responding to urban crisis. On behalf of my school, GSS Samaru, we commend the department for this innovative and look forward for more of this program in the future. And however, I want you all to forgive me if I'm going to go beyond my limits. Please, if you are organizing this type of program next time, please, on base of what I've learned in this place, we're talking about urban crisis. I'm feeling pressed right now, but I can't use the toilet because there's no water there. And please, if there will be water, there will be adequate water next time, not just for me alone, but maybe next time. It will be very better. Thank you.
Sorry, ma'am.
Now the presentation of that. And I would like to invite the Dean, Faculty of Environmental Design, Professor Abdullah Abubakar, who is going to make the two presentations. First, the first keynote speaker, and secondly, the second keynote speaker. Madam, are we ready for the flags? Madam, Prof, the flag. So I'd like to invite the first keynote speaker, QS Kenny Christophe.
Let me, on behalf of the Vice Chancellor, Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, here today, the Faculty of Environmental Design, Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, Award of Recognition presented on the 6th day of October 2025 to QS Nzikwe Ken Christopher, President, Nigerian Institute of Quantity Surveyors, in recognition of their inspiring keynote address at the World Habitat Day celebration 2025, with deep appreciation for your leadership and voice in shaping resilient habitats for all.
So the next presentation is our second recipient of this presentation award, who is no other than Surveyor Chief Pius Chukwemeka Eze, FNIS, President, Nigerian Institute of Surveyors, ably represented by the Vice President, Nigerian Institute of Surveyors, Surveyor Bashir Mahmoud.
On behalf of the Vice Chancellor, Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, here today to present this plaque on behalf of Faculty of Environmental Design, Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, Award of Recognition, presented on the 6th day of October 2025 to Surveyor Chief Pius Chukwemeka Eze, FNIS, President, Nigerian Institute of Surveyors, in recognition of your inspiring keynote address at the World Habitat Day celebration 2025, with deep appreciation to your leadership and voice in shaping resilient habitat for all.
So congratulations to all presenters. Now, the last item. But before that, permit me please to before we take the vote of thanks from the Chairman Organizing Committee, there is a slight modification on the program. Instead of waiting till 4 p.m. for the exhibition at Kashim Ibrahim Library, the exhibition will be commissioned to say immediately after this event so that the program continues as our guests take their leave. I'm sure you cooperate and you will understand. So I would like to call on the Chairman Organizing Committee, Professor Adeleke Gankida, to give us the vote of thanks.
Thank you very much, Mala Ishak, for being a very wonderful master of ceremony. Good afternoon, everybody. Our chairperson, permit me to stand on existing protocol. It's a day of joy that we're celebrating our habitats. We are today counted among the living to witness this. And so we are grateful to God for that. I want to take a moment to thank the Vice Chancellor, who has been with us from the beginning of the planning of this program. And in spite of his very busy schedule, he was able to spare some time and be with us at the beginning. We are very fortunate from our faculty, from one VC to another. Maybe I should start warming up and be the next one. Our chairperson, Professor Binta Abdul Karim, thank you for honoring this day. In fact, we couldn't have gotten a better person with all this knowledge than you. She's an embodiment of knowledge. Environmentalist, educationist, geographer, name it. Each time I have the opportunity to be around her, I learn so much. And when I grow up, I like to be like you. To our wonderful speakers, the president of Nigerian Institute of Quantity Surveyors, Surveyor Ezekwe Kene Christopher. My first time of meeting him, my first time of seeing any NIQS president anyway, so this is a very rare privilege for me. Not your limousine outside. I need to ride a little before you go, please. It's good to see such professional bodies of such high esteem. Thank you for honoring us. Thank you for these insights that you have brought to bear today. We have learned a lot. To Surveyor Bashir Mahmoud, the Vice President of Nigerian Institution of Surveyors, representing their president. Thank you, sir, for sparing time and also to drive all the way from Abuja yourself with all the risk, driving even in the night, just to make sure that you honor this event. We're very grateful. To Professor Sarah Simons. You know, she's Kenyan. And this World Habitat Day celebration started in 1986, hosted in Kenya. Shelter My Rights, something like that. That was the theme. This year is also being hosted in Kenya. ABU, naturally ahead. We didn't have to travel to Kenya. Kenya came to ABU. Thank you, man. Thank you for bringing this international twist to Ahmadu Bello University. That was our founder's vision. I'm happy that we're Ash. This year he's supporting us with some grammar. It's okay. But it's okay. They say it's not every day that you lie on the bed, right? It's all right. We're very grateful that you created time to be here. And I know that it's not the end. Later he will call me and shut my mouth with a big brown envelope. Thank you. Dr. Yakubu Bununu,